Meanwhile, we've made our way back into the kitchen and here to make a traditional Italian soup perfect for those cozy winter nights, Tuscan Ribollita. Please welcome back New York Times bestselling cookbook author Melissa d'Arabia. Welcome back, Melissa.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Joining Cam at the counter is Maria and Ken. We are all very excited to dig into this Ribollita soup. So, first of all, what is Ribollita soup?
Ribollita actually means re-boiled in Italian. And so it's a way of taking leftover soup, reboiling it, adding in some other ingredients, and giving it new life.
Oh, I love that.
It's a budget stretcher, as it were.
So it's taking whatever you may have left over in the refrigerator and making a new meal out of something you just ate the night before.
Well, that's exactly right. And, you know, listen, we all have big pots of soup, and then you have leftovers, and you're like, I don't want the same thing.
So true.
So you add in traditionally beans and then some sort of greens. Okay. We're going to use kale, but you could use cabbage. And you can add in meats. You can add in whatever you have for leftovers.
Whatever you have.
And give it new life. And there's a secret ingredient at the end that is really characteristic of a Ribollita.
Well, I can't wait to get to that.
Fun times.
Over here we have our carrots and our celery, and what else is going on? Garlic and onion?
That's right. We've got garlic, onion, carrot, celery, and we also have some fennel, which adds a nice
layer.
Nice layer, a little sweetness. If you don't have it, obviously that's fine. We're making our own soup today.
Okay.
So you could actually be using leftovers. But yes, so we have that cooking down in here.
Okay.
And we're going to add in some fresh thyme.
Right.
You know, you can just put the stems right in, or you can peel it off. To add a little bit of heat, just some red pepper flakes.
Okay.
But again, you can use just a little bit or a lot, depending on if you have
leave them
kids.
out.
Or leave them out. No, don't leave them out. That makes me sad.
I'm just trying to protect
All
the
of
little
those
ones.
options are fine, Deb, except leave it out. All right, we'll just give that a quick stir. And then we're going to add in some canned tomatoes. You know, again, stewed tomatoes, diced tomatoes. I like whole tomatoes. You kind of chop them up. They're nice, luscious in their texture. But just, thank you. Yeah, I don't want to mess up the kitchen.
Okay.
Your kitchen is so much cleaner than mine. I'd like to keep it that way. All right, so we add in the tomatoes, and then we're going to add in some vegetable broth. Now, we're using vegetable broth and keeping it vegetarian, but you could use chicken broth. You could even use water if that's what you have.
Okay, this is so easy.
Like, totally no big deal. Yeah, it's really a kind of a dump and go situation.
I could picture like an old Greek nonna, an old Italian nonna in Italy, or a Greek yaya making the soup all day long.
You know, you can imagine, one could imagine that. I couldn't because I'm Irish and didn't have that. But one could imagine that.
But it really is.
Yeah.
Right. I can imagine my grandma making this.
This is like the Tuscan, the Mediterranean. Yeah. This is the vibe of rich history and delicious peasant food, which
and
is
just
the best.
making whatever you had.
That's
super
right.
Cozy.
Yeah.
It's really, really tasty. We're saying it's a
is.
little chilly here in California these days, and this
Perfect.
is like a nice, cozy meal to have.
Right.
It is really cozy. And then we're going to add in some beans. We're using canned beans. This is going to really bulk up the soup and make it have that, you know, the fiber and the protein that makes you feel full. And then another characteristic of the Ribollita would be adding in some sort of greens. We're using kale. Cabbage is another very popular one. Inexpensive in the wintertime, but...
Would you do spinach ever?
I mean, you could do spinach, but I wouldn't let it cook as long. We're going to let this simmer for about 15 minutes or so until the kale is nice and tender.
But the idea is really, correct me if I'm wrong, to use what you've got in the house, in the fridge, right? So like, let's say you had a little meat left over from something. Could you kind of cook that up and put it in there? I know it wouldn't be vegetarian, clearly, but...
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the ideas is you could take, if you have a leftover chicken breast or some rotisserie chicken, or even if you have some lunch meat ham or salami, a great option for
Sure,
this.
salami would work too.
And in fact, what I do, Cameron, is because I do have a daughter who's vegetarian, I will serve the salami or the ham on the side, and then people can add it into their own soup. Or Italian sausage is great with this as well.
And this is relatively very healthy.
Well, it is really healthy. You're getting lots of vegetables in here. And then what you're going to do is once this simmers down, I promised you a secret ingredient.
Right, which makes it a little more savory. It kind of makes it feel like a treat.
Well, and it makes it a little bit more filling, but it's really one of the hallmarks of the Ribollita.
I was wondering why you hesitated when Debbie said it was healthy, because obviously a little bread in there is okay.
Hey, listen, a little bread is a great thing. And you can use day-old bread. It's really what you want to use. So go to that day-old bread aisle and get the 50% off baguette.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cut it up, and I'm gonna switch over to show you what it looks like in this soup. Once the bread has simmered down, it gets nice and thick and creamy. So
You mean the soup, not the bread is simmered down.
No, the bread.
yeah, the bread will simmer down.
down,
and
it becomes like a
not
thickener.
after it's
That's
cooked.
right.
No.
So, okay, so we've got, so we add in the bread here, right? And right now it just looks like, because right now, did you guys think we forgot the bread? Were you like, where's
No,
the
I
bread? It's
saw
kind
it
of
every now
melds
and
in
again.
there, right?
Right. But you're right.
It just sort of sinks into, becomes kind of silky and thick.
Yes.
Now, I want to give you another option. If you wanted to, you could put bread into the bowl and then just pour the soup on top. If you want that kind of, that texture, that bready texture, kind of like, almost like a French onion soup, but not that flavor profile, you can go that direction. So either way, but if you want it to sort of sink into the soup and just sort of thicken the soup and make it feel silky and rich and luxurious.
That's what it is. It becomes part of it, right?
About 15, 20 minutes or so of letting it simmer.
Why not just do both?
Well,
I mean,
Double down on the bread.
as we should. You know what? Here, let me
Yeah,
pour
but you put it in the bottom, and I'll
put it
just
right
do
there.
this.
There we go.
You know, I'm never
gonna put
afraid
it
of a
on the other
carb in the
side.
wintertime. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Oh, that's
You're
beautiful.
gonna love this. I love the
Melissa.
flavors. I mean, you
This
did
is
such a great
delicious.
job.
It's so delicious.
Such a great job.
And it's
Yeah,
really
have a little
simple,
taste.
but it just layers in all those flavors
Yeah.
and makes new life out of food that's inexpensive.
I think it's a great idea. We
Yeah, I
really
hate to
appreciate
throw away
this.
anything, even an inexpensive item. You don't want to
Absolutely.
throw it away.
Exactly that guy right there. Obviously, as always, the full recipe will be at hallmarkchannel.com.